Hello. Hi. It's all going wrong immediately. Just dropping everything. So I don't know if there's anyone currently watching. Let me just check. It's always weird to talk to yourself when there's no one watching, but it's for the catch-up people as well. One watching now. Hello, whoever you are. Feel free to type in the chat. There's a little bit of a delay, but I'll answer it. I will answer anything that comes up eventually. So my plan for today is to animate these headphones here in Blender. I've already done the modeling. I'll just swap to rendered mode. When that loads. I'm going to be doing this in Eevee, hopefully. If anything comes up that I just can't get working into Eevee, I might have to swap to Cycles, but Cycles takes ages to render, so it's not really something I want to do. I can avoid it. One thing I've noticed is on the texture of these, some of the black textures kind of come through, because my plan for these headphones is to have, essentially I'm going to render out the video twice. I'm going to do the animation and then I'll render the video out twice, once with the headphones in white and once with the headphones in black. So let me just show you the black ones. Where are we? So we swap these over to the headphones black, and then if we link all those materials, give it a second. So this is the black version of the headphones. There's still a few issues. I do need to go back into Substance and texture them, so I mean that's less important for this. Obviously the buttons are coming through grey still. So depending on how long this goes on for, we might get to see some Substance Painter texture as well. But this mainly is about the animation, making the animation. But for now, I'm going to go back to the white ones. It's frustrating that white bit's there, but again, we're here for the animation, not the texturing. So I've picked an audio track. I'm not 100% happy with the track. I mean, it's fine. It's not great. The reason I've picked it though is because it's 30 seconds. It's like a 30-second clip. There is a longer version as well. And I think there was another file that was kind of like an undertone sort of background version of it as well. I've picked this one though because it's a bit rocky. Do some cool stuff with the animation, like trying to sync it to some of it. But yeah, because I don't want the animation longer than sort of 30 seconds really. So I've got this linked, I've got this short clip so it can encapsulate the whole animation, because I'm not the best at audio editing. Having like a longer track and trying to like fade it out and make it seem shorter, it's something I've always annoyingly struggled with. But yeah, we'll see how we get on. I'm kind of able to do this until about half two today. So, I mean, hopefully we'll make some good progress on that. And then, yeah, if any point during the stream you need to drop off, if you subscribe, that'd be great. Because then once the animation's done, I'll be posting that on there. And also the playback of this live stream will go on there as well. So I'm just going to check quickly on social, just see if anyone's having a problem with the stream. No, okay, it seems good. Okay, so I'm going to just try and jump into this straight away. What I do want to do is get rid of everything here. Just kind of want to have a fresh start with this. Is that going to delete that? Okay. So the way this animation is set up is, let's just create some space here. So these are the headphones here. So I'm just waiting for that to catch up. There we go. These are the headphones. They swizzle this way, they kind of move this direction, and the whole point is that they fold flat. So I mean, I've used these as a reference, obviously, whilst modelling. Took some of my own reference photos. For the actual animation, I'm not very good at drawing, but I've done kind of like a brief animation of what I want to happen. So the selling point to these headphones, according to the Sony website, are there's 35-hour battery life. You've obviously got the media playback buttons, easy operation big buttons, voice assistant compatible, and easy hands-free calling. You can take the music anywhere, which kind of illustrates this, being able to like make them portable. I mean, that is kind of the points that, I mean, they're a cheap pair of the cheapest of the Sony range. They're good headphones, and this isn't sponsored by any means. They are good headphones though, so that's why I wanted to model them. And then I kind of, for the end frame, I'm going to have like the two colours side by side, with kind of the information on the screen. The reason I'm going to render it out twice, once in white and once in black, is because I want to do you remember that Nike advert that was on quite recently? Where is it? Mute that. With like the split down the middle and it kind of goes between them. I kind of want to have something similar where it's the white and black one next to each other, maybe with a diagonal split across the screen. Other inspirations is, I don't know the name of the kind of like the campaign, but Apple have been doing these like split kind of colours, these split kind of adverts, and I've seen quite a lot of them recently, like black and white on either side, which I quite like. And then part of it was also, like this bit here with the wire, is due to this video I saw on LinkedIn from, let's have a look, I forgot what it's called. Called Esben Oxholm. He's a freelance CG artist. He did this little animation with the wire coming up, and I really liked this kind of wiring. Someone did ask in the comments like how that was done, and I think I figured out a way that I can do it. I think this was made in Cinema 4D. Don't think he says actually, maybe in the comments, but there I am. Yeah, but either way, he has done this kind of animation, and I've kind of figured out a way to do that kind of in Blender, which will be quite exciting and quite interesting, hopefully. I'm just going to take a drink here. I've spoken a lot. Right, so the first kind of port of call is kind of, I'm just going to go through sort of like chronologically. So I want the wire to slide up, click in. This is like the light that kind of charges, so that'll blink on just to show that it's charging. Once I've done the animation, obviously there'll be on-screen graphics and stuff in After Effects as well, so a lot of the stuff that's missed will be conveyed through that. Ultimate control, I might get the camera kind of like spinning around, just showing off those buttons and trying to get the Sony logo in there. And then take the music anywhere with you, it can fold up. And then I want them to sort of like slot down on a podium, the white and black side by side. And then there is a third colour of these headphones, which is like a navy blue. I've not done a navy blue version of those, but what I might do is like at this point have the headphones on the plinth, they kind of like slide away, and then the blue ones slot in to show the three different colours. Yeah, so I mean the first thing we need to do is I need to model a USB-C cable and kind of get that kind of going and working its way up here. One problem I had when I was doing the Rolex animation, which, if I just save this and open up the Rolex one, which I thought I had open, let's have a look. So I don't know if anyone has seen this, if you're watching. If we watch this from sort of outside of the camera view, I'll put the camera view in here. Animation. Here we go. You can see how messy this got with all the lights. The cameras are fine, obviously, because they're marked down here. But you can see as these cameras are moving, and then suddenly everything changes for the next shot, and then we've got lights moving here. I think this was like 700 frames, 800 frames, this animation. And you see some of the trickery I had to do is I had lights moving, and then I had them, I had a load of lights sat down here at the bottom, and then as for like certain parts I'd snap them up to the right area. It's very loud. Sorry, I apologise for that. But yeah, as you can see, like lights would snap in and out of kind of like basically like a holding pen at the bottom that I'd set for him. I didn't really like that workflow. Something I didn't realise about Blender is you can have different scenes up here, and you can copy scenes and have like full copies and stuff. That would have been really helpful for this, just to keep each individual scene organised, but I haven't looked into it yet. I don't know if they share the same timeline. Obviously that's just a copied scene. Let me just copy. So copy setting scene. But obviously there's no keyframes here. Links copy. So yeah, anyway, I don't know if they share the same timeline. So if I animated like scene 1, which is like a slow kind of reveal, a slow reveal of the clock, of the watch, sorry, in this scene, and then opened up a new scene and then animated a different one, whether the timeline in sync or whether I'd have to render out the first part of the animation and then load up the second scene. So what I want, which obviously the problem there is that you render it and then it finishes and you're going to have to come back and then set up the next render, whereas ideally you want to just hit render and just leave it to do its thing. So what I've kind of learned from that, and I'm going to do in this one, is I'm going to try and have the lights and the headphones themselves stay as stationary as possible. There might need to be some moving, but instead of moving different sets of lights for the different shots, I'm just gonna like trying to hide them. I might animate the strength from 1 to 0, just like constant from one frame to the next, so they just like click off essentially. But this is less kind of, I'm hoping that if I get the animation correct, set up all the camera movements, then I can get a lighting system that works for all of the shots. Whether that's possible or not, I'm not too sure. And as well as animating the headphones, another thing that I want to try and add in, if possible, is something like this. The new Xbox got announced, and in the background, apart from obviously all the game footage, it's got the squares moving and stuff. I might try and get some sort of like geometric movement in the background as well. I'll see how that goes. The ultimate thing is obviously the headphones. The black headphones will be shot against a white background, and the white headphones will be shot against a black background. So it might get a bit too visually confusing, but I can always add it in and then delete it afterwards. It's not like traditional video where you have to like buy in the things and make a set. So yeah. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I need to get a picture of a USB-C cable just as a reference. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, obviously. Google Images. Here we go, this will do. Headphone, animation, USB cable. So if I save that, I'm going to put these in this in their own collection. Headphones. Just hide that for just a second. Okay, so what I did then, pressed 7 to go into top view, and then Shift S brings up the cursor and origin, the cursor menu in default Blender. I've got hard ops, so I get the pie menu, this radial thing with, I can change origins as well, which you do differently. So in default Blender, which if that comes up or you have a problem with that, just let me know in the comments and I'll show you how to do that natively. But what I want to do is put the cursor back in the middle, Shift A, image, reference image, and I'm just going to select that reference image that I just downloaded. Where is it? Here we go. Okay, so here's our USB-C cable. I'll do it big for now. We don't need to see this end of it. I'm more just interested in this shape. I mean, I know from USB-C cables kind of what they look like front on. Just kind of get that shape at the top end. I'm just going to turn back. I'm just going to mute the audio for now, so while we're going around, it's not going to be there. Yeah, and I'm just going to shrink this down. To about the size of this. We're going to have to change this, obviously, to fit the scale of the headphones, which I believe I've set to be real world scale, which is something I'd recommend that you do, is put everything to real world scale, because it just helps with lighting and just getting things to look photorealistic. If it's the size that it's supposed to be in real life, then obviously that's kind of what you want. Let's just move that up. And speaking of which, do I have I've got a USB-C cable here. Something I do, if I've got a reference, I will just get a ruler and try and measure things. Just like I said, it just makes this so much easier of a process. So that's like 8 mil in height. Okay, so 8 mil in height, and then 13 mil along the X. Okay. Mil along the X. Okay, so that's not to scale. And what I need to do is bring up the image to fit the box. I mean, obviously this isn't the exact cable I just measured, but it gives us a good reference just for sort of sizes of things. One thing I will do is just before you start beveling and insetting faces, just make sure you always press Control A scale and apply that scale, because you can see now that's scaling a lot better. So probably about there. Scale it again. Another thing I'd suggest is to put on random colours for everything in your scene. It makes stuff look so much easier, so much clearer, and as well as cavity. Sometimes shadow for this, I don't want it, but with cavity, if you do screen from screen to both, it just lets you see exactly what you're doing like a lot better. Right, so these USB-C cables are normally quite rounded. Let's see how we go. I might do these individually actually. Let's go back. Shape that smooth, and then if we go down to normals, auto smooth, that kind of gets those sharp edges back where we want them. And I'll do the same here. I might need to rebuild that face. So that it's kind of rounded completely, isn't it? Sorry, just checking my reference again. This geometry is quite messy. For animation purposes though, it should be okay. If I need to, I can always rebuild it, but I mean, does that look like a USB-C cable? I'd say so. We just select that loop face, shrink it in, but not on the Y. Yeah, I mean, that'll do. Right, now we need to get a round area. So I'll just insert that to give it some support, and then bring that in a bit more that way. The reason I'm adding these support loops at the top is it's just so in a second I can delete this face, select these, and then if I right click, go to loop tools, which is a free add-on which you can get over here. You just go into add-ons and select loop tools. If you've got that selected there, that gives you sort of, if you've got like an edge loop like that, you can do a lot of different sort of instructions. I know that's not the right word, but functions, I guess. And one of them is you can turn stuff into a circle. So all those kind of vertices that I had have now become circular. And if I shrink them back down, like so, and then extend that out along the y-axis. Oh, sorry, I've turned on snapping there apparently somehow. So we extend these out along the y-axis, kind of maybe make that a bit bigger. Like so, and then go back into edge select mode, press E and scale up down. we have our USB-C cable. Okay, so I know that that is kind of the real world scale. So instead of scaling up to meet the headphones, I will scale the headphones down to meet the cable. To meet the cable. Because I could have swore that I did these to real world scale. I mean, so that's what's like 18, 19 centimeters tall. Okay, I mean, they're close. They do need to... what I've done here is I've just made a box that's 18 centimeters tall, just so I can use it as a guide. I mean, the other problem is my USB-C, what you call it, port might not be to scale, because that I did kind of eyeball, but let's have a look. So I mean, while I talk about real world scale, I will have to... okay, I am pleasantly surprised with that. I think that
shutdown initiated.
Kind of functions. Sorry, my headphones are dying apparently. Sorry, 2 seconds.
Auto shutdown cancelled. Mic on, mic off.
Tell you what, these Corsair headphones are good, but the battery is shocking on them. Lucas Andrews down looks good so far. Thank you, Lucas. Glad you're liking them. Glad you're liking it. Where was that? Okay, so I mean, yeah, that almost fits perfectly. I mean, it's not 100%, obviously. Let's bring that down. But I mean, for the purposes of the animation, if my plan is, so just going back to the storyboard, we'll see it come up, and then we'll cut anyway, and then we'll see it go in from a bit of a distance, just so we can see the Sony logo, and then the buttons and everything. So if it's from kind of like, just have the camera in. So if it's from like this point of view, you're not really gonna notice that it doesn't go in perfectly, I guess. Just delete that camera, delete this weird cube. So the kind of way I figured that this USB-C cable is going to work. So let me just set the... So like here with this with hard ops, you can press... I think it's hard up. I'm not sure which add-on actually does this. I think it's hard ups. It may be one of the other ones. But you can press Shift S and then origin to geometry, and that pops the origin back to kind of the geometry. But if you want to do that the proper way, without kind of any add-ons, you go up to, if you select your object, you can go up to Object, Set Origin, and then either Origin to 3D Cursor, Origin to Geometry. You can snap the geometry to the origin. There's kind of lots of different things you can do that way. One thing I need to do is I'm just going to add some loop cuts up here, because I'm going to have this following a curve. I need to give it some sort of structure to follow and bend. Like that, so. So, because I'm having it following a curve, I need a curve. So I'm just going to add one, add a Bezier curve in. That's massive. Let's bring it down, apply the scale, rotate it on the X and on the Y. So I mean, looking at that almost kind of goes there perfectly. In fact, yeah, I mean that it's kind of great actually. So I'll just make this curve. I just want a very interesting, like, snaking kind of look, if possible. And you control curves the same way you control kind of like the normal geometry. So you see the curve point here. You can scale it with S. You can grab it and move it with G. You can rotate it with R, and you can extrude it with E to get a new curve. So it's quite a powerful tool, the curves. I've only just recently started using them myself. Quite happy with this little use of the curve, just as a bit of an aside. For a client project, I had this dude. He's just got a forward walking animation cycle. There had no turning or anything. So I've just got him following a path. And when I actually like set up the cameras, I just won't have them focusing on his feet, because I mean that it obviously doesn't look very realistic. But for purposes of this animation that I'm making for them, it'll be fine. It'll be good enough. Yeah. Alright, just 2 seconds, just check in, make sure the stream's working. I keep having to like go back and forth and make sure the stream's working fine. And moving windows about, I just need to get them set back up. Yeah, so, wait. So I mean, for now, maybe just bring out another one. Let's move it in 3D space slightly as well, just to get a slightly more interesting curve. So I tested this worked yesterday just before doing this, because I kind of figured it would, checked it would, and it did on a test I did, but obviously now it's live. This is where it'll mess up and it won't actually work as expected. Okay, so let's just try that. So what we want to do to get it to follow this curve is if we select our USB-C cable and then come over here to the constraints tab, and then we can add a follow path relationship to it, and then we can select our target to be the Bezier curve. So you'll see what happens now is, so if you follow the curve, and then the up axis will be the C, forward axis, Y. So, I mean, this is what I mean, of course it's not going to work. Animate path. So I don't, is this going the right way? Path animation, frames. Was it the right curve I used? See, I don't think I saved. Right, okay. Well, I mean, this is the joys of doing this live, and it shows kind of, it does show the problem solving of this. What I don't get actually is that normally with these curves they have a direction on them, which this one doesn't seem to have. Path. 3D. Path animation. Why is this doing this? It's always the way. Influence, offset. I'll just add a different object. Remove that constraint. Was it follow path or was it a different one? Transport. Starts. Why is that up here? Going to the center. Oh, I'm not talking. Animate path. Okay, so that's following the path. Why follow path? Animate the path. Select our curve. Okay, I mean that's getting there. Just apply that rotation. So the forward axis would be Z, and then follow the curve. Up axis. Animation. Activate frames. Follow. Let me just check with a new scene. Curve. Bezier. Okay. So I mean, this is what I did yesterday to check that it worked. I mean, instantly. It's not showing the. I mean, on this headphone scene, it's not following the. It's not showing the directions when I'm in the edit mode for this. For 2D, 3D, spline. So if I add a constraint to this, follow path, select the path. Animate path, follow curve, no, curve radius, no, forward axis is the X, up axis is Z, go to the curve. Why isn't the geometry following it though? Stretch path animation. Follow. You know why? Curve modifier. Select the curve. Filters that way. Alright, okay. I mean, we're getting there. So let's go back. So I hadn't put the deform modifier on, so that's sorted. Alright, so deform axis Z, no, Y. Let me just get rid of this again, just to get it back. Alright. So. Have it following the path. Apologies for this. This is slowing me down. Add modifier. From the Bezier curve, X, Y, Z. Let's take a look at Google. I mean, if anyone knows the solution to this and you're watching, that'd be great. What's more annoying is I had this working in a test yesterday and it didn't squish it. And the other problem is that in this file, can I copy objects, open up a new scene. .8 centimeters, that 0.8 meters. It's going massive, but we're getting there. So it hasn't immediately squished it this time, so follow the curve. The forward axis would be X, I think now. So the forward axis of this. Right, so that's following that, and it hasn't squished it too much. I mean, obviously, one of the problems here is that I don't think there's enough resolution for this to bend nicely. Okay, so maybe the problem is that this is massive compared to. Because this should only be 8 millimeters. Oh no, that isn't centimeters. Scale of 1. Let me try a different, let me just get a different curve. Hide the headphones again. Curve, Bezier. I mean, for a start, this doesn't have the handles, the direction handles. Blender 2.8, no handles on, no direction on curve. Right, I mean, okay, that was just a setting I must have accidentally hit in this. area. Right, okay. I mean, that's still not huge, but whatever. So let's reset that. Go into here. Just extend this curve out slightly. Follow path. Select our curve. Animate path. And then add a curve modifier. Set the curve. I mean, almost. Right, so it's deforming along the X currently, but go in the wrong direction. So if I rotate it that way, forward, like I said, this is a learning process. So why is the next thing then is why is that I apply the scale? Oh, what's going on? I just want to move the origin point to the front here. Go to that, set the origin to cursor. Add the curve modifier back in. Deforms along the x-axis. Fixed position. maybe if... Will use an empty work here at all? Piss. Okay, so that's rotating along that path. Just trying to make this a bit slower. So now this is the bit that keeps messing it up. The deform axis is Y. X. Okay, so if we do, apparently, if I put the cursor to the world origin, for the curve, I'm going to set that to the world, set its orientation to the cursor, set this orientation to cursor, modifiers, curve. Origins of the curve and the object needs to be in the same place. This one rotates, I try rotating it so that it's horizontal. empty. I have to say, this is the most frustrating thing, and I can only apologise. Another option as well, because I only want the deformation to affect the wire. Assign these to a vertex group, then in the curve Now, I'm spending way too long on this. Let's just get rid of this. Get rid of this empty, get rid of this empty. Going to make just try one more time. Bezier. form along the y-axis. Okay, I mean that's a positive sign. Follow path. Yeah, these off. Let's do it sort of parenting it. Object constraint. Follow path. Follow the curve. Animate path. Forward axis would be X. Up axis is Z. Follow 240 frames. Target Bezier curve. There for some reason. Let's add a empty sphere, parent that to this, add this to this. Alright, okay, what's this path? Object key, no. Constraints, follow path, pick out Bezier curve. So I'm just going to test this, doing it this way. Because obviously the follow path way isn't working very well. Alright, okay, I've got some progress. I'm not a big fan of this bend. I think that's the curve resolution needs to go up. Oh, yeah, there we go. I'm gonna just delete those keyframes. Bring back our headphones. I'm gonna do this in edit mode. I think I need to get this to just go. Past and through, just so it's got somewhere to go once it's at that end. I mean, ideally, I wouldn't want this bending as well, but I guess from our perspective of here, if it's going to look snake-like anyway, yeah, I mean, that should be fine. The way around that, actually, to get it a bit cleaner, would be bring this handle kind of, give it a bit of a clear run. Yeah, I mean, for our purposes, I think that's good enough. See if we can get a bit of a more interesting curve. I'm just going to take now I've figured that out, I'm just going to take a very quick break. And then when I come back, we'll try and actually get it animating and going in. Okay. Sorry that was a bit quiet towards them, but that was a bit of a pain, but that's what you come across in Blender. Still not 100% sure what I did to fix that. It seems quite important to have the origin point of everything, including the curve and what you want to follow the curve in the center, or like in the same place. And when you're scaling the curve, make sure that you're in edit mode. That seems to sort of sort this out slightly as well. But yeah, I will be back in about 10 minutes. Probably a bit sooner than that. Anyway. Hello. Okay, so I just had some lunch. Yeah, this curve thing is just, it's not working. Fortunately. I thought I had it working, but I don't. So, gonna just have to improvise on the spot. So let's just bring back the music. Mute that. And just listen through to this just to see. So 108 frames seems to be a good place for this to sort of hit in. One problem I'm having is it's very hard to manipulate this. So I'm going to do it this way. Yeah, I really wanted that path to work, going along the curve, but it's obviously not meant to be, unfortunately. It's just very frustrating. Especially as well when, you know, when you're live streaming it. Just a bit of that added extra pressure to get it working, but there we are. Okay, so that's where we want it to be, kind of around this frame. There we go. Like that. So going back to our storyboard. So the first camera, which we need to add in, was going to go be like here. Gonna first of all increase this and decrease that. I want to get up close. I want to have a lot of edit. So what was the kind of framing? So the framing was actually like this. There. So if you put an animation for location and rotation there. Maybe that's 1 second. I think are we animating at 30 frames a second? Yeah, so that'll be 1 second there. I can drag that back. I just think that 108 frames is very long for just one sort of part. Let's just see what. See, that looks rubbish. I need one last time to try and get this curve to work, which I know it's not, but let's try this again. I'm really hesitant to spend a lot of time on this one. It's just not working. But if I can just get it animating slightly. Spend time on this. I mean, obviously there'll be camera movement and stuff, so I mean. That's gonna have to go in. Because if I add in another camera there. Select that one. Marker, bind camera to marker, then first frame, bind this camera to that marker. made that linear, that'll kind of have it going all in one thing, and then what we need to do to kind of make that a bit snappy is just to move it further away so it'll go faster. Oh, that's a bit too fast. So I'll just split the window and see what's happening and get rid of all this extra stuff. From there. Maybe that does work actually, because this part will be kind of, if the camera can kind of like do this sort of motion, and then let's try that. Notice that they're not directly in line. Location, rotation, scale. From there, go to like there. Make that linear. Maybe add a bit of rotation in. That's a bit too quick, isn't it? There. So once that plugs in, we want the light, the emission to come on for this. Get rid of that. Just add an actual. Oh, animation shader. Plug that in there. That's bright green. I get to see that. It's good. So, the moment that goes in, when it on, before it's off, we'll set the keyframe and then just swap that to constant so it's off. So then that goes in. 35 hours on the move. All about control. To make up for that lackluster first scene, now that we can get that curve working, as well as the camera animating, I think I'm going to make these swivel like so they'll come in from flat and appear kind of, so they'll start flat like they're packed away and then they'll rotate into place. I think for that though we're going to need to allow a bit more time at the start. Like 4 seconds maybe. Let's just try that. And it might be, that's not what I meant to do. It's like here. I mean, I'll play with the time and I guess because the music isn't really in sync though. Let's try here for it. Just make sure the cut is in a good sort of place. I do think like towards the end of here we really need to see this kind of making its way in to tie those two scenes together. Delete that keyframe. Yeah, okay. Okay, so we need these to rotate along their local x-axis, but for that I need to set the origin point kind of here. Still swivel. Do the same for this side. Okay, I think I'm gonna end the stream because there's still no one really watching. And I do realise that kind of even on the VOD, the playback, this is going to be quite a bit it's very boring because of how long I spent on that. So, I mean, you win some, you lose some of these streams, unfortunately. I will have to live stream something again in the future, but I kind of just want to get this done and speed through this because I've spent like 2 hours and I've not got anywhere with it yet. But if you've watched, thanks for watching. If you're in the chat, again, thanks for commenting, Lucas. But yeah, I think we're going to have to end the stream, unfortunately. Sorry guys.